12. Avram's Tale. Praise to Shulpai, god of feasting. He has given us food to delight us. Praise to Ashnan, god of the barley. With his aid we quench our thirsts. Praise to Gilgamesh, king of men. By his protection we are safe and warm and fed. Listen. In the east, by the waters of ocean, there stand great mountains. Jagged and strong, they challenge the realm of Anu, father of gods. Men call them mountains of Mashu, gateway to the day. In the rocks the ibis frolics, in the peaks the Itubi birds sing. In the pathways the Zukaquip stand, they are tall like men, tall as the sons of men, and strong they are. In one hand they can crush a boulder, yes, even a stone the size of a man. Their skins are not as the skins of men, nor like the fur of the beasts. In the place of hair they are clothed in metal. In the light of Shamash they glow. When the sun falls upon them, bright is their appearance. They stand at the gateway to the gods, and they neither slumber nor sleep. Ever watchful, they wait, and waiting they serve. Strong is the arm of the Zukaquip, but stronger yet is his sting. Like the arrows of Adad, whose storms sweep the land, the arrows that fly and bring fire to the land, so are the strings of the Zukaquip, the watchers by the way. Like the arrows of Adad, they fly and burn. Like the arrows of Adad, they cut and kill. Who can withstand these stings? Can mortal man? Can a man crush a rock till like sand it falls? Can a man call out and cause Adad to rise? Can a man stay without sleeping 7 times 7 days? Who can withstand the strength of these watchers? And what do they guard, these Zukaquip? What secrets so great could they keep from our eyes? Listen! Beyond those mountains lies the garden of the gods. In those fields the firstborn sons of the immortals dwell, even the kin of Utnapishtim. Who is this Utnapishtim? Who but the saviour of his people? In a far land they dwelled, in peace and comfort. None there worked, save so they wished. None there toiled, nor dug, nor spun. In their place their servants worked, for their praise their maids toiled. All of the sons of Mashu were blessed, all of their lives were gentle and long. Then came among them Ishtar the great, Ishtar the beautiful, Ishtar the proud. Shall men for ever sit idle, she asked. Shall their lot be ease? No! Instead she enchained them and made them toil. They who had known rest now knew only work. They who had led their gentle lives now sweated. To give Ishtar praise they laboured. Then Utnapishtim, strong and wise, saw what had befallen. He wept and cried and tore at his hair in despair. How far are you fallen, children of dawn? How hard it is for you! And, kind father, he made vow, soon shall you be free. Setting his powers to work, Utnapishtim, wise and cunning, loosened bolts of thunder and arrows of Adad. Storms raged, wind rose, waters grew, the very earth shook. Then Ishtar, seeing this, grew angry and afraid. If you do this, she cried, then men will die, man will perish, never to live again. Be still! But Utnapishtim would not. Again he loosed his bolts, again the arrows flew. And again the earth shook and the waters grew stronger. And seeing this, the wise Utnapishtim took his men, craftsmen and artisans and dreamers and planners, all he took, and came to them and said, The waters rise and we shall perish, the earth shakes and we shall be devoured. Make for me a boat 100 cubits long, 100 cubits high, 100 cubits round. And in it place their floors and rooms and doors and torches, and in the roof a single door that I alone will close. And the craftsmen and artisans and dreamers and planners came to him and said, All you have asked of us is done, Lord, speak on. And Utnapishtim, Lord of men, spoke. All of the animals, take you 2 of each kind, and place them in my ark. All of the birds, likewise 2, and place those within also. And of the sons of men, gather up all who live, and place them with the birds and beasts. And when all of this is done, there will be peace. So the artisans and craftsmen, dreamers and planners, all did as he directed. And when the ark was full, they came to Upnapishtim and told him. So Upnapishtim rose and sealed his ark. Then the waters rose and covered the lands. The earth shook and swallowed the waters. The day was gone, and night dwelled on the face of all that existed. For 6 long months there was no day. Within the ark was peace, but outside dwelled only chaos on all the face of creation. And when the months were past, then came the ark to rest. In the mountains of Mashu it found the ground again. And Upnapishtim rose and opened up the boat, and there was Shamash. Shamash the golden, Shamash the glorious, Shamash shining from on high. And so were all the kin of Upnapishtim the wise saved from death and the fury of Ishtar. And to this day within the mountains there they live. Avram finished singing and stood still, waiting. For a moment, while the feasters gathered their wits, there was silence. Then a wave of applause broke, and Avram smiled. The nobles pounded on the tables until finally Gilgamesh clapped for silence. "Right," he said, grinning. "A fine tale, well sung. But let's have a real song, eh? Sing of the drunken knights and the lovers of Ishtar, songsmith." As Avram bent to obey, the doctor nudged Ace none too gently with his bony elbow. "How do you like the song?" "Well, it's no match for you too," she grinned. "But I think he's pretty good. All he needs is a decent backing band and he could get on top of the pops easy." The doctor sighed. "I didn't ask you to sign on as his manager. What do you think of the story itself?" "Bit silly, isn't it?" she asked. "Sounds like something from the Bible to me." "The flood legend," the doctor shrugged. "A common theme really at this time. Given the nature of the land, as flat as a pancake and about as interesting, any sort of flood would be a catastrophe. On the other hand, what about the rest of it? What, the Scorpion Men? And the 6 months of darkness?" She frowned. "You don't take it seriously, do you?" "I take everything seriously," the doctor replied. "Except myself." "Come off it, Professor. It's just a song, nothing more." "Never jump to hasty puddings," he told her. "They're usually the wrong ones and sticky to boot. Remember what I told you about not judging cultures by their own standards." This was too much for Ace. "That's exactly the opposite of what you told me last time." "Of course it is," the doctor agreed blithely. "Haven't you ever read Hegel?" "I don't know. Did he write Watership Down?" "No, he didn't," the Time Lord frowned. "Take this seriously for a change. You can't hide yourself away from the world behind a barrage of explosions forever, you know. Hegel suggested that you take an idea, a thesis, and its opposite, the antithesis, and put them together to get the end result, the synthesis. So apply yourself. Avram's song is quite correct and tells a true story, but it's culturally biased, based on his own experiences. Use your imagination and what you know of the universe through my tuition, and take a guess what it's really talking about." Ace hadn't listened to most of the lecture. She'd already been thinking. "Professor, that Ark, was it really a spaceship?" He beamed. "I knew you'd get there sooner or later with my help. The 6 months' darkness, the trip, no sun of course, and the Scorpion Men. People in spacesuits with lasers? I do believe you've got it," the doctor approved. "And the story had other interesting aspects, didn't it? Utnapishtim and Ishtar were foes. According to Engula, Ishtar is now living in Kish. According to Avram, Utnapishtim and his band of merry men landed in these mountains of Mashu. That talisman Avram has is some sort of electronic key lending credence to his story. Fascinating, isn't it?" Then his face fell. "The only thing is, what do we do about it all, eh?" Ace had no idea, but that was generally the doctor's department anyway. He was the planner. She preferred to act. "Why don't we sleep on it?" she suggested. "Why not?" The doctor turned his attention back to Avram's latest song. Somehow, he wasn't at all surprised to discover that Gilgamesh's choice of entertainment was about the sexual exploits of the gods. The king was probably hoping to emulate them later, he mused. In Kish, things were less festive. Ishtar, too anxious to wait, had summoned King Aga. She slithered about the main altar, lashing her tail back and forth. The human was infuriatingly slow. Granted, it was night, and he was probably resting, but that was a pathetically poor excuse for keeping her waiting. Finally the king arrived, looking haggard. "What is it?" he growled, not in a good mood. "I think, in light of recent events, Aga," Ishtar ordered, "that we will step up the rate of work. I want more men assigned to laying the copper pathways to the walls. And I need a second team of slaves. They are to begin work on my power supplies. I am impatient to reach the culmination of my plans." "What are these power supplies that you speak of?" he asked curiously. "The words are meaningless to me." "Of course they are," she sneered. "To you in this pathetic little town of yours, power is measured in terms of slaves and the work they can do. I speak of real power. Aga, king of dust and sand. Power to move mountains, to level the hills. Power to fly or build up. Power, should I so choose, to destroy." "Ah," she said, disgusted at his lack of understanding. "I don't know why I bother talking to you insects. You are too feeble to comprehend." Then she smiled coldly and evilly. "But one thing you will understand. I know that you have been curious about what lies within my inner sanctum. Come and see, and fear." She didn't bother to check whether he was following her. She knew that he would not dare decline her offer. Moving through the inner rooms, she reached her own private chambers. Quickly, unobserved, she disconnected the defences she always placed and led the way within. All of the equipment from her damaged shuttle was here. The electronic devices that sustained her, the controls that linked her mind to those of her slaves, they were all beyond the limited mental prowess of King Aga, of course. He stared in wonder at the blinking lights and the snake-like traces across the VDUs. The computing potential of the equipment was meaningless to him. However, Ishtar knew that there was one device that even he, stupid and dull as he was, might understand. It was a smallish box, about a foot in each direction. She stroked it tenderly and smiled down at him. "One of the reasons I came here, Aga," she purred, "is that I could detect a source of radioactivity in the area. So far your men have mined a small amount for me, and it powers all that you see. In the past few days I have garnered enough spare material to fill this box." Aga shrugged. "It means nothing to me," he confessed. "What difference does it make what is in that box of yours, Ishtar?" She laughed long and hard, enjoying his foolishness. She stopped. "Oh, King," she smiled. "You saw the damage done to my temple by the intruders, did you not? Well, it was accomplished using some simple explosives. They made quite a mess. This," she stroked the case again, "is what is known as a thermonuclear bomb. It is linked to me electronically. Just a grain or two of the minerals in here could create the same effect as the bomb that harmed my temple, and in this box is several pounds of the destructive ore. If anything happens to me, Aga, anything at all, then this will explode." Trying to understand this, Aga ventured, "You mean that if you should somehow be destroyed, then your box will demolish my city?" "Your city!" Ishtar laughed again. "Aga, this box will destroy everything that you've ever seen or even heard of. It'll dispatch this portion of your miserable little planet into complete oblivion." Aga stared at the box with increased respect, and he could see in her eyes that Ishtar would be more than happy for such a catastrophe to happen.